So today I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of how I look at the thyroid when it comes to women's health with my clients, because I think it's important to show you what you can get from both a mineral test and also bloods. And the two are really important together if you can do both. But the mineral test actually is a really good first indicator of thyroid issues. And then bloods can come afterwards. So here I have got a mineral test, and it's for somebody who has actually thyroid issues have massively improved. And this is a more recent test. But I will show you which markers and which minerals are really key for the thyroid and what I'm looking at. So calcium is one of the minerals because high levels of calcium can suggest decreased thyroid activity, so hypothyroidism, suboptimal thyroid function. Calcium can deposit in the soft tissues, and it's a common finding in individuals with a sluggish thyroid. And when we look at here on this right-hand side, we've got ratios between different minerals. Each one of these ratios indicates different systems in the body, and the calcium-potassium ratio indicates the thyroid system. And as you can see here, this person has a thyroid ratio of 149.5, which is really high, but she has been working through some stuff, and we have run bloods, and her thyroid is actually now much better. But on her first test, this was much worse. So the calcium potassium ratio is really important. And then individually, calcium and potassium. So when you've got this high calcium, low potassium, it signals that there might be issues with thyroid hormone being able to get into the cells to do its job. If it can't get into the cells, doesn't matter how much you produce, you can't get the benefits of thyroid hormone. So you may as well not be producing thyroid hormone because you can't actually access it and utilize it. And then we've got sodium. Sodium really reflects adrenal gland activity, but that's interconnected with the thyroid function. And low sodium often correlates with low thyroid and low or suboptimal adrenal function. And as you can see here on the right, the sodium magnesium ratio is the adrenal ratio. And for this person, again, it's very low, which indicates sluggish adrenals, which is going to mean that she's going to be tired easily, hard to get going with energy, and so on. As I said, this is a retest, and for her, things are much better, but there's still a way to go. Then we've got magnesium here, which is the second mineral along. It's essential for thyroid hormone production and conversion. Imbalances can indicate stress, and stress on the thyroid. We've got zinc, which is crucial for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, so production of thyroid hormones. Low zinc can impair thyroid system function. Copper is another one. Imbalances, especially high copper, like on this test, can interfere with thyroid hormone activity. Iodine is not available on this test, but there are 7 or 8 markers which tell us whether there's an issue with iodine. And with this test, 6 out of the 8 are positive, which means that iodine is going to be very helpful for this person. You've got to be very careful with supplementing iodine, though. You really don't want to be doing that on your own. And then, as I said, the ratios, the sodium potassium is really important. That's your vitality ratio. It reflects adrenal and metabolic function, and these indirectly impact the thyroid. And then you've got sodium magnesium, as I said, which is the adrenal ratio, and the big one is the calcium potassium ratio. The other thing to notice is here selenium. Selenium and manganese, both really important for thyroid. Selenium is really necessary to convert your thyroid hormone that you produce the most of, we call it T4, into T3, which is the one that can get into the cells, latch onto the receptors and actually be used. So if you can't convert it, again, you're not going to get the benefits of thyroid hormone. You could be producing plenty from your gland, but you can't actually convert it. So, you know, there's lots and lots of things on this test. And then very quickly, let me show you this thyroid blood panel, because you'll see how many markers I look at. Let me make that bigger, so if you're on a little screen, you can see it. When you go to a GP, you're only going to be probably that you're going to get TSH, which actually isn't a thyroid hormone. It's a thyroid stimulating hormone. And so thyroid hormone, TSH is what you'll get from the GP. You may sometimes get total T4, which is this one here, thyroxine. You may get that. And you won't get much else. When I do a test, I run the full panel. I find the total T3, total T4, and what we call free T3 and free T4, which are the unbound versions. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but just bear in mind that when you have all this information, it tells you a lot more about what's going on with your thyroid. And then we have antibodies. So TPO, thyroid peroxidase antibodies, and thyroglobulin antibodies, TGAB. Those two are different types of thyroid antibodies which indicate autoimmune conditions with the thyroid. And so, again, GPs don't run it because they don't have any treatment for it. The treatment's always the same. If you're hypothyroid, they stick you on thyroxine, which is a replacement for T4. It also shows us reverse T3, which, if that's raised, can really cause problems, but because it's not tested, often nobody sees it. And you can be producing plenty of T4, you can be converting it, but not converting it to T3, but rather reverse T3. And reverse T3 puts the brakes on, basically stops it from becoming T3. And then again, it's another reason why you don't get the benefits of your thyroid hormone. So if you've been to the GP and you really have a lot of the symptoms of thyroid issues, and yet your TSH is normal and you've been told, oh, normal, go on your merry way, that may not be the case. And that's what we dig into. And that's what I really help women with, because I specialize in helping women who are chronically fatigued, their moods are affected, they're not sleeping perhaps, they really struggling with day-to-day, going with their energy, etc. Now, that's not all my clients. Some of my clients are not as extreme, and for them, there is always the option of doing a mineral balance package, which is not the 6 months, but it's much shorter. And it's very cost effective, really good way for you to really turn around your health. But if you've got a lot going on, you've been struggling for a long time and you're more extreme, then the 6-month program is the right one. So I have 2 options, and we look at in the 6-month program, we look at the thyroid in depth. We look at the adrenals, we look at the gut, we look at everything to see what is really underlying your symptoms, because that's what's important. Okay, I will leave it there because I don't want this to go on too long. If you have questions, drop me a message or ask in the comments where you're watching this, and or drop me an email is probably the best way, or message on Instagram or Facebook Messenger is good, and I can get back to you. All right, take care. Bye for now.